between the Packers and the Bucs ended in overtime. Green Bay won the last on a field goal. There goes Dickey. I'm not sure that with the problems Lynn Dickey has had this season with his back, I want my quarterback going over the right side of the line.
I don't think Tampa was expecting Dickey to go in there either, but he took it in for the touchdown.
Big extra point is good. So we have played just over 3 quarters here in Green Bay. It was all Tampa Bay early, but the Pack, ironically enough, is his second rushing touchdown of the year. So from the 35-yard line, Al Del Greco will kick to number 20, Michael Morton. Morton back at about his own 10. And both the kickers, Del Greco, Obed Aruri, they've been having problems with their placement kicks. They just can't get the footing. Again, it's like a quagmire. See how that turf has been chewed up. Michael Morton falls on it, picks it up across the 15. Nice return back to the 20. Now we've got fisticuffs down at about the 30-yard line. Darrell Jones, who's been playing very well on specialty teams, the Packer that made the tackle on Michael Morton. Well, the month of December, CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will feature the nation's top teams. Next Saturday, a talented run and revel team from Nevada, Las Vegas will head east for a showdown with top-ranked Georgetown. Then in 2 weeks, again, you'll see the Hoyas. They'll play host to second-ranked DePaul, where Joey Meyer has replaced his dad as the coach. December 22nd from the Madison Square Garden, UCLA takes on Lou Carnesecca's Redmond of St. John. Those are just some of the good games you're going to be seeing in December on the home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports. James Wilder. And the Bucs, they need some first downs.
They got to get back in this football game. Offensively, they haven't done anything in the second half. The big first half, and it's really taken its toll because they didn't take advantage of the mistakes Green Bay made in the first half. They only had a 7-0 lead. Now this game is tied up. As we see the big hole there for James Wilder to run through. That's the first big opening he has gotten in the second half. 26
carries and 90 yards for the locomotive James Wilder. He had 43 carries the first 2 times. For the first time, these 2 teams hooked up in tackle. Second and a short 1. Wilder will not get it. Chopped down by Rich Wingo out of Alabama in his 5th year. He came up and sealed it off. And the Packer defense, you can see, has taken command of the game.
That's a big play for the Packer defense. They've been making these big plays in the second half. It's really turned this football game around.
Now a big 3rd down play, 3rd and 3. Tampa 4 out of 12 on 3rd down conversions, but on 3rd and 3 you would expect Wilder to get the call, or maybe play action to Wilder to try to hold the linebackers. But if the Bucs don't pick up a first down here, the way that defense of Green Bay has been playing, it'll set up the offense in good field position. There are 2 Green Bay scoring drives, 49 and 47 yards. That's a short field.
It's hard to call a play for 3rd and 3.
They'll throw for it. No, they won't. Terry Jones, who's been magnificent at the nose tackle spot, 7th year, another Alabama boy, 6'2", 260 pounds. He'll be in the middle of the screen, and he will come right in on DeBerg.
Well, it's amazing. All for the first half, DeBerg was getting excellent timing, and now Green Bay is fired up. And they're getting pressure on the quarterback, DeBerg. See Terry Jones there just beat his man. Gets to the quarterback, puts him away.
The masked marvel again, Frank Garcia in to do the kicking. You can see he's all bandaged up there. That's not a bandage, though. It's insulation to try to stay warm here in Green Bay. Tommy Flynn waits at the 50-yard line. The Packers will have great field position again. Garcia gets a good kick away. Flynn called for the fair catch at the 40-yard line. So we've got 12:15 left to go in regulation. The Bucs played in the glorious history of the Green Bay Packers. Pack with a good comeback this afternoon. Stealing the game in the second half from Tampa Bay. It would build up a 14-0 lead. Slot to the right side. Kaufman and Epps. Gary Ellis dances across the 40, the 45, the 50, the 45, inside the 40. He did all of it on his own. Leroy Selman came crashing through and chopped him down from behind. Frustration written all over the face of John McKay. It has been that kind of a season.
You can see it, a disappointment in him. It's, like you said, Jim, it's been that kind of a season for him. The teams have had leads, blown leads, been in games, but just haven't always come up on the short end. You see from the end zone here, Dickey going back. He thinks Tampa Bay's going to come, and they do. So they run a screen. And watch the run by Gary Ellis. A good block there by Holstrom to spring Ellis. And once he gets that ball in the secondary, he's tough to bring down.
1st and 10 Packers from the 38. Here goes Ray Krause around the left side. And Krause keeps on turning, spinning, breaks the tackle inside the 30.
They hit out of bounds.
Right in front of the Packer bench, a personal foul late hit will cost the Bucs 15 big ones. John Cannon, he's the man.
Well, this time the advantage of the wet jersey helped Ray Krause. Ray Krause on this play. He gets outside. The linebacker there can't make out of his number, grabs him. Looks like he has him away, but he loses him because he slips right out of that wet jersey there and picks up some extra yards. You see Lofton working downfield, trying to get a block, and then you see the late hit.
Unnecessary roughness. Late hit out of bounds, number 78 on the defense. 1st and 10.
That's only the 8th first down of the game by Green Bay, yet they're tied up 14 all. A costly penalty by Cannon moves the ball even deeper into Tampa Bay territory. And maybe we could get a shot of number 80, James Lofton, back in the huddle. The reason I want to point it out, Ivory's got 5 catches, Krause has 2, Epps has 3, Kaufman, the tight end, has 3. And how about Lofton wide to the left, number 80? How many catches do you think he's got?
He's got 0. That's why his uniform is so clean.
Eddie Lee Ivory bangs inside the 10, goes crashing down to the 9.
But I guarantee you, before this is over, James Lofton will be a factor in this football game. I got that type of feeling.
Well, he's a factor because he commands double coverage wherever he goes, but the fact is he's had 3 very easy balls thrown to him that he's dropped.
They might go to him in this situation, Jim, down here by the goal line. They've been neglecting him, going to Kaufman and X.
You can't
relieve the coverage on Lofton a little.
He's like you on the post pattern. You really can't cover.
We love it. We love it.
Ray Krause got a convoy. He's got a touchdown too.
Stepping through the end zone.
The play action fake to Eddie Lee Ivory. And then they dump it off to Ray Krause. And all of a sudden, after a 14-0 Tampa Bay lead, it is 20-14 Green Bay. And a very important extra point coming up here for Al Del Greco, trying to make it a 7-point lead and force the Bucs to go all the way to tie it up. Out of the hole to Bucky Scribner, the punter. Crowd will tell you on this one.
Fumble the snap.
That has been the theme of the second half. The problems that both the place kickers have had. That one, a fumbled snap. And as you take a look again, that could be a very costly missed extra point.
Again, a wet ball, so what is part of the football field, and Scribner just couldn't put it down. He's just trying to salvage the play here. It's all over.
Now let's take another look. Watch the play action fake to Eddie Lee Ivory right there, and then wide open. Ray Krause, there's the convoy, there's the touchdown. The Pack leads the Bucs in a Quagmire Field and Lambeau Field. Bucs, if they don't fumble, will have good field position. That is number 54, Richard Wood, taking the ball back to the 35 of Green Bay. And that's the first opportunity we've had today to call Richard Wood's number. Richard Wood, a very close personal friend of Ricky Bell, and we talked at the first half of the game about the passing at the age of 29, the tragedy of this young man, and all of the Buck players wearing his number on their helmets today. Richard Wood read from the Bible and read a book of poetry after learning of the death of his former college and professional roommate. And a lot of the Tampa Bay players will be heading to Los Angeles for Ricky Bell's funeral, including Coach John McKay at the end of this game. Option fake to Wilder, and DeBerg in trouble. Unloads in the general direction of a Tampa Bay receiver. But Robert Brown, he was putting all sorts of heat on DeBerg, and you could almost feel it. That was time of possession in the first half that Drew alluded to when we looked at the first half statistics. Overwhelmingly Tampa Bay. Now in the second half, and the Green Bay scoring drives, Drew, 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go 49 yards, 2 minutes and 1 second to go 47 yards, and 1:40 to go 60 yards.
Oh, wow. They think they're in Tampa. They forgot where they are.
There's a van outside. People have white coats and a net looking for those two. Wide open, incomplete over the middle, looking for Jimmy Giles.
Well, field position has been the story here in the second half. Green Bay has gotten all the good field position and taken advantage of it. In the first half, Tampa Bay had the field position. They couldn't take advantage of it. Only came out of the first half with 7 points, and therefore they're down at this point 20-14.
John McKay. Frustrating season. Frustrating last couple of seasons. An 0-8 beginning a year ago, 0-2 beginning this year. Said, what could he do to try to change things around? He finally decided the only thing he could do was to step down. 3rd and 10 for the Bucs, who are digging themselves a deep hole. Estes Hood in for the Packers as a nickel back, and DeBerg is down. Oh my, Charles Martin, number 94, a free agent out of Livingston. DeBerg did not have a prayer. I want to tell you a story about Charles Martin. He is 6'4", 270 pounds, and a very pleasant surprise from head coach Forrest Gregg. He was released by the Birmingham Stallions in the USFL. He went up and played in Canada. He was cut by a Canadian team. The CFL coach called up Forrest Gregg and said, he couldn't help us, but I think he might be able to help you. All he needs is a chance. He's got 4.8 speed. You'll see it here. Well, Forrest Gregg gave him a chance. He comes in nickel situations, plays a defensive tackle. And you talk about a career getting a shot in an arm. That man, Charles Martin, performing well for the Pack. Garcia hangs one up to Tommy Flynn. In traffic to the 35. Across the 40. Down at the 43-yard line. The Packers in business in good field position again. Back at Green Bay. Tampa Bay in trouble. Good field position for the Packers again. They start now from their own 43. Lofton to the right. Epps to the left. Krause in the backfield with Gary Ellis. Krause banging forward. It's Eddie Lee Ivory. Check it. Up to the 40. That big hole on the right side by Hallstrom and Cook again. My apologies, but the uniforms are getting a little muddy.
Again, they're getting that good blocking up front. And Eddie Lee Ivory takes it through the hole. Missed tackles there by Tampa Bay defense. You can't do that to a back like Eddie Lee Ivory. He'll hurt you.
Look at the uniforms of Tampa Bay's defensive players. You cannot make out a number.
Well, they didn't play that much in the first half, but they're getting their share of work in the second half.
Yeah, they're back on their heels right now. 1st and 10 at the 40 of Tampa Bay. Ray Krause after a pickup of 2 around the right side. You start doing a little scoreboard watching now, Drew, because if Tampa Bay should allow another score, it forces them to have to score twice.
That's right. This is a big drive, big series for Green Bay. They could put this game out of reach with a touchdown here. So the touchdown is very important to them. So it's got a 2nd and 7 situation, and really don't like these types of situations, but the momentum Green Bay has had in the second half, they seem like they can overcome anything.
You saw the fog rolling in, along with the snow and rain that we've had earlier. Eddie Lee Ivory dives down inside the 35, keeps on spinning down to about the 32-yard line. And while they unpile, we'll remind you that this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited. The way Tampa Bay's defense has performed and their offense in the second half, John McKay wouldn't want any other use.
Players shaking up on them. Can't make out the number. It's Dave Logan. as our spotter, Billy Wandell, tells us.
Billy Wandell doing yeoman's work all season long. He was with me in that Snow Bowl game out in Denver. You couldn't see the yardage markers, let alone the numbers. And here in a quagmire, he knows him by instinct. The man looks at hours of film each week. He was here at the stadium at 8:30 this morning. Lynn Dickey goes airborne on 3rd and 2, flares to Ray Krause, and Ray Krause is very close to a first down. He had to get up to the 30. It'll depend on the spot. But I believe even on 4th down that Forrest Gregg would go for it. I think you're in a 4-down situation.
There's no question about it. That's what I would do in this situation. But I think they pick up the first down, or it's going to be very close. At least call for a measurement possible.
You know, you've got an interesting situation. John McKay retiring in 2 more games. Got to be disappointed with his team's performance so far in the second half. Feeling one set of emotions over on the Buccaneers sideline. And Forrest Gregg almost on the verge of being blown out in this game after losing a 14-point lead twice in Detroit. If he points to a game that maybe builds character for his young football team, I think it might be this one.
Well, I think so, because they're certainly demonstrating that character here this afternoon. And you know, to be 5-8 coming into this game, and they got the first down as the crowd reacts. To be 5-8 coming into this game, it's easy to fold up your tent. And I know, fortunately, only one time in Dallas that we had to play with a no-win situation, no playoff situation at the end of the season. And I guarantee you, it's tough on the players to get up to play these types of games. But being the professionals that they are, and like McKay has said, and like Forrest Gregg has said, that these guys get paid to play regardless of what their record is. And you know, both teams have demonstrated great character to make this an exciting football game here today.
It was interesting that each coach mirrored the other in their comment about what was almost a meaningless game except playing for pride. 1st and 10. Eddie Lee Ivory dives down to about the 27-yard line. In the grasp of Hugh Green. 4th year out of Pittsburgh. All-American, All-World, along with Leroy Selman.
Well, this is Hugh Green's first game back, and he has been practicing with the team for the last 4 weeks. But practicing game conditions are completely different, and this is his first game back. He's been in and out of the action here today, but his presence on the field, you have to be concerned with Hugh Green, and it just makes Leroy Selman that much better because they both line up on the same side.
On 2nd and 6, Lofton left, Epps right. Krause on Eddie Lee Ivory. And a great defensive play, penetration there by Hugh Green again. And as I'm watching that play, I was just about to remark to you that the Tampa Bay defense really has to come up with a turnover here. They have to keep the Packers off the board.
Well, you know, for so many years, Tampa Bay defense has carried this football team, and they need the defense to carry them right now. They need to come up with a big play because Green Bay is continuing to drive in the second half.
Dave Logan has checked back in. You would expect a big play from Hugh Green, Leroy Selman, Dave Logan. They're the heart of that Tampa Bay defense. It's 3rd and 7. You think they'd blitz?
Well,
motion by Kaufman, the tight end. Dickey backpedaling. Looks outside to Ellis. Ellis catches it at the 29. That's a first down for the Packers. Penalty flag thrown from way across the field. It may be a late hit. The frustration of Tampa Bay.
I think it was a late hit, Jim, but it was a great catch by Gary Ellis on the play to make the play happen. Then after he makes the catch, a great run.
Personal foul, the frustration of the Bucs. And the reason it was a great catch, the concentration of Gary Ellis. The ball was almost deflected. It was floated out there very dangerously by Dickey.
He doesn't have any gloves on either. He went up and put one up here and to try to stop the ball. He did. And he kind of just stuck there and fell right into his lap.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 57 defense, blow to the head. Half the distance penalty. First down, goal to go.
Well, Dickey's looking to the side he wants to go to. He's checking out the coverage in the secondary as he drops back. And Selman's getting a little pressure on the quarterback. Watch him jump up, almost tipped the ball there. He doesn't do it. Watch this catch. Great concentration, great control on the football. And here's a great run right behind it. These are the types of plays your football team needs to make to stay in football games and control football games.
That late hit by Keith Browner made a rookie mistake. Ray Krause dives down to the 2.
Green Bay has brought in all the tight ends and running backs in this situation. They're going to just try to run it in. At the same time, chew up some clock.
You know, you talk about baseball being a game of inches. Football can be a game of inches, too. You saw in that replay so clearly how close Leroy came to deflecting the ball, and then how close Gary Ellis came to just being able to catch it on the fingertips. If either one goes a different way, or if he doesn't break the tackle, it's incomplete, fourth down, and a different complexion. But now, Green Bay about to nail things away. Gary Ellis back to the line of scrimmage. Excellent penetration that time by one of the linebackers for Tampa Bay, Jeff Davis, third year out of Clemson. He's one of the strongest Buccaneers. He can bench press over 450 pounds, and he's got a vertical jump of 36 inches. What do you call here, partner, on 3rd and 2? Do you run it, or do you got a little play action?
That's a good situation. They got the tight end offense, the goal line offense in here. Get him to think run, pull it out, with the option to roll out with your quarterback or hit the tight end, coming across on the pass.
Eddie Lee Ivory dives for the winning Green Bay touchdown. Forrest Gregg told us yesterday, in crucial situations, we will run right. 3 times they have, behind Cook and Hallstrom, and that should just about salt it away.
Well, they've really dominated this second half. Got to give Green Bay all the credit in the world. They've really taken over the second half. Forrest Gregg must give a heck of a halftime speech to this football team.
You know, you're seeing old Green Bay Packer football, and you saw that great shot that Bob Daly, our director, cut when they lined up at the line of scrimmage. The bandages on the forearms as they lined up, the breath. You saw the turf shown up. The way football used to be played on muddied, bloodied stadium.
Fun times.
Del Greco makes good on the extra point, and the Packers, after trailing 14-0, have now run off 27 straight points.
Look at that action shot right there.
Look at the breath.
Look at the breath,
bandages, the
the
mud.
dirt. Old-fashioned football at its finest. They're blowing him off the line of scrimmage. There's Eddie Lee Ivory. He sees that big hole, and he sees 6 points. Happy times for Green Bay and Eddie Lee Ivory.
There's no artificial carpet here. They go around the NFL today. The 49ers, no problem against hapless Atlanta. Kansas City and Denver, that could be a big upset as far as Seattle's concerned. And, of course, the Raiders, too. Buffalo looking to pull one out against the Colts, who are trying to come back. Houston playing Pittsburgh tough. Cleveland falling behind. They've been seesawing back and forth. That's a final now. Cincinnati wins it by a field goal. Ironically, the Bengals and the Browns, 2 of Forrest Gregg's former teams. He is 3-0, Forrest Gregg is, in other battles against John McKay. Excuse me, having won one game once with the Browns and the Bengals twice against John McKay coached teams in Tampa Bay. That last drive, 57 yards, 10 plays, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. But really, you look at the short football field, 57 yards, 60 yards, 47 and 49 for 4 straight Green Bay touchdowns. Michael Morton across the 20 to the 24, and Tampa Bay, with 4:02 left to go, trails by 13 points. Obviously, Steve DeBerg will be passing for the next 4 minutes and 2 seconds and trying to get the Bucs back in it against a revved-up Green Bay defense. Tonight on CBS, a special lineup for you. First, of course, it all kicks off with 60 Minutes. Then the Christmas special. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. What a pair, huh?
Yes, sir.
And then the Circus of the Stars. Are you in that?
No, I'm not in that.
DeBerg to James Wilder. Wilder fighting for his life at the 30, trying to get to the first down marker, try to get out of bounds to stop the clock. 3:48 and counting left to go.
Tampa needs not only 1 touchdown, but 2 touchdowns to pull this thing out. It's going to be very difficult.
Not a well-thrown ball, but given the condition of the field and the mud caked all over Steve DeBerg, he tried to release to Adger Armstrong. What does it do emotionally to the Bucs now? You have a 14-0 lead, and you've been scored on 27 straight points.
Well, they got to be disappointed. They got to be down. They got to be frustrated, hurt, everything else. And they got a long plane ride back to Tampa. So this thing is not over. They look like two football teams here today. First half they came out were dominant, but they only came away with a 7-point lead, and that was really the difference. They had so many opportunities to score, and didn't take advantage of it. Second half, it's been all Green Bay. Tampa Bay has just been dominated by the Packers.
Ball in the hands of James Wilder, again with mud caked all over it. Is a little difficult from high atop Landau Field to make out some of the numbers which have disappeared. Here come the chain gang, and this John McKay. Wonder what thoughts are going through his mind.
Well, right now he thinks he's got this first down. He's pretty sure of it. He sends the bird back in the game.
Whoa.
Barely, but they got it. Game of inches again, Jim.
John McKay, given us so many great quotes over the years. His game plan, he said, well, I'm going to run a little, I'm going to pass a little, I'm going to kick a little. If we don't kick too much, we'll be all right. Took over the Bucs as an expansion team, and you kind of get the feeling in talking to John that that really took its toll over the years. He never complained about the 0-26 beginning, but he told us at the hotel yesterday if he had it to do over again, he'd recommend a younger man, maybe about 21, do that same task. Over the middle, Theo Bell, he drops it at the 45. A sliding, diving try. Good effort by Bell, former Pittsburgh Steeler.
That's that Drew zone. You got to pay the price to catch him in there. You don't get nothing easy in the Drew zone.
Holding in the backfield of Tampa Bay. Gene Sanders, number 74, I believe, will be the culprit. So instead of 2nd and 10, it'll be 1st and 20 if the Packers accept the penalty.
Sanders must play with hooks on his hands because he's got called for holding about 3 times today.
Holding, number 74 on the offense. Penalty accepted, repeat first down.
I mean, everybody holds, but the key is don't get caught, right?
You know, as we look at the Bucs sideline and reflect on John McKay and some of those great quotes over the years, his team started out 0-26 before they won their first game. Finally, when they did win their first game, it was against the New Orleans Saints, and Hank Stram was the coach. Hank was so mad that he lost to the Buccaneers, he burned the game film. McKay said after an 0-26 start, he said, gentlemen, we may be back, but maybe not in this century. 1st and 20 for the Bird. Looks for Wilder, finds him at the 30, gets back 8 yards of the penalty. It'll bring up 2nd down and long. And now we've got another fight. Flags all over it, and Gordon McCarter in the middle.
Mad Dog Douglas, Mike Douglas separates Mark Lee and James Wilder. I kind of would respect Douglas's discretion there.
You know, Douglas, we talked about his size. He's only 6 feet and about 215 pounds, but he takes great pride in his weight training program, and he says he actually thinks that he's stronger than most of the tight ends he has to go up against.
Well, certainly does. He's small. He's only about 6 foot. He gets that leverage on the tight ends, and well, he's a great athlete in high school. He ran 4.8 40. High jumped in high school, 6 feet 8. So he's a great athlete.
Shot put 59 feet.
Yeah, he's
unnecessary roughness both ways after the play. The penalty's offset. We will go to 2nd down.
I think I may call the NFL.
Timekeeper, please put 8 seconds back on the clock. The correct time remaining is 2 minutes 45 seconds. 2:45.
So they'll put 8 seconds back on the clock. That's the free fight rule again. I think when the rules committee looks into things, if there's a fight, maybe the players should sit out a play. There should be some kind of a penalty.
2:45 on the clock.
Yes, Gordon, we got it. There should be some kind of a penalty when you're involved in a fight, whether you sit out a series, a play, or something. You just shouldn't be allowed to have a free fight and then go back and strap it on.
Yeah, some type of infraction should be called against one of the players or both of the players. But the NFL really has control fighting in a National Football League by finding players that get involved in altercations that they're not supposed to be involved in. If you come off the bench to join a fight, you get fined. So that's really slowed down the brawls in the National Football League.
Packers jumped off sides. The question is, were they drawn off sides? DeBerg puts up a rainbow. Tommy Flynn intercepts at the 40. Now we'll have to check the call and see if the Packers were off sides to negate the interception. Alfonso Carricker was the man who jumped off sides, but was he drawn off?
Well, I think he's going to be victimized here. They're going to bring it back. That's the second interception they have called back because of penalties.
While they straighten this out for our friends in Tampa Bay with Coach John McKay over on the sideline, with the theme of this broadcast, at least as far as Hugh Green and Leroy Selman are concerned.
Offside, number 76 defense, holding, number 73 offense. Penalties offset, repeat second down.
So the interception will fall and the down will be replayed at 2nd and 15. Again, Leroy Selman and Hugh Green told Drew and myself in the hotel yesterday that they're going to go to Mr. Culverhouse at the end of the season and recommend that Wayne Fonts, the defensive coordinator, be elevated to the position of head coach, replacing John McKay. Wayne has been with John McKay for 15 years at USC and with, of course, the Bucs. And Wayne Fonts on John McKay said he never alibis. He never blames the players. He usually blames himself. And for all the mistakes that have hampered the Bucs over the last 2 years, Wayne Fonts has a word for it. He calls it the Maloik, the evil eye. Penalty flags down again. Wilder again at the 33-yard line. 2:31 left to go. Mark Lee back there on the coverage, and Gordon McCarter going to have a busy 2.5 minutes, I think. Both teams taking out a little frustration, a couple of cheap shots, some late hits. There is Wayne Fonts, the man who came up with that word, the Maloik, the evil eye.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 76 defense. Blow to the head, 15 yards, first down.
Alfonso Carricker, the rookie, and the penalty moves the ball up near midfield. They'll spot it at the 48 of Tampa Bay. Well, if Tampa Bay can get in quickly, an onside kick, a touchdown, and that extra point, because the Packers missed an extra point. But DeBerg's got to start throwing downfield. The Packers fake the blitz. DeBerg backpedals and look out. Carricker comes in. DeBerg on his backside tried to release underneath to Gerald Carter. First time we've called his number in the second half. But coming crashing through was big number 76, Alfonso Carricker again.
But what a difference a half of football makes. They're really getting a lot of pressure on DeBerg here in the second half. And every time it seems like he drops back to pass, he's got one of the Green Bay Packer defensive linemen or linebackers in his face.
2nd down and 10. Bucs with all 3 timeouts left if they can score quickly. Looks for Wilder and finds him in midfield. Loose football, and it is covered by Green Bay. John Anderson with a fumble recovery, and that should do it. Right in front of the Packer bench, in front of Forrest Gregg. It was ruled a reception and a fumble, and the Packers, after trailing 14-0, will win this football game 27-14. Mark Lee forced the fumble. John Anderson fell on it. It's been a long afternoon for the Bucs. Two minutes and 15 seconds left to go. Tell you what, if I'm Mike Ditkin, the Chicago Bears, I got my hands full next week with these Packers.
Well, they certainly do. The Packers have not given up. They have not folded their tent for this season, and I'm sure the rivalry continues in the NFC Central when the Packers meet the Bears, just as it has been a big rivalry between Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Chicago Bears better watch out.
For the Bucs this afternoon, they've lost 3 fumbles, 1 interception. They've committed 4 turnovers.
Mostly in the second half.
Here comes a sweep. That is Gary Ellis, and he goes out of bounds. He didn't want that to happen. They want to keep that clock moving. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this football game. So the Packers, they will up their record to 6-8. There's what Gary Ellis has done so far this afternoon. The Bucs will lose another tough one after having a 14-0 lead and having things pretty much their own way in the first half. And as Drew pointed out, for the Bucs, a long ride back to Tampa Bay. Comes around the left side, and he will stay inbounds, and another penalty flag is thrown. Richard Wood, 10-year linebacker out of USC, who came over to the Bucs in a trade with the Jets in '76, who has 849 tackles coming into this game, the most of any Buck in Tampa Bay history, the man that made the stop. Face mask, I believe, against Tampa Bay. You know, in talking to Steve DeBerg yesterday at the hotel, though, despite this loss by the Bucs and despite their record at the end of the year, and even talking with Mr. Culverhouse at halftime, the organization is very enthused. They've got a good, solid defense. When you've got Hugh Green, Leroy Selman, Brantley, some of the others, the defense is playing well under Wayne Fonts. The offense is playing so much better under Steve DeBerg, and you've got the NFL's all-purpose yardage leader in James Wilder.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty. Number 51 on the defense. We will repeat second down.
That's a good nucleus, and they're excited about next season.
Well, they certainly are. The problem in the past for Tampa Bay is they just didn't have any offense. As we look at Coach McKay on the sideline, they just didn't have any offense. This year they went out and got Steve DeBerg. They thought Jack Thompson would be the man after Doug Williams had left and went to the USFL, but he didn't pan out. So they went out and got Steve DeBerg, and he's really added a new dimension to their offense. And also with James Wilder there. So that what they got to do is get their defense shored up and get it back to the level where it has been in the past.
Gary Ellis keeps the knees turning down to the 25-yard line, and that will be a first down. We hit the 2-minute warning, 1:58. Along with former Dallas Cowboy great Drew Pearson, I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome back to Lambeau Field. It began, it was 32 degrees. The forecast for 3 to 7 inches of snow. We had some snow, we had some freezing rain. The field is a quagmire. The Packers don't care. It's been a gutty Green Bay performance here this afternoon. They lead by 13 with just 1:58 to play. Harlan Huckleby and Del Rogers. This is Del Rogers. And Tampa Bay will quickly take a timeout. Lofton may finish the game with no catches, by the way.
That'll be the second time this season. Earlier against the LA Raiders, timeout Tampa Bay. James Lofton was shut out against the Raiders, Mike Haynes and Lester Hayes. So this will be the second time this season Mr. Lofton has been shut out.
We've got 1:50 left to go, and then we'll send you to New York with Brennan Irv. We'll have the post-game show, scores and highlights. Jimmy the Greek is there, too. That's all coming up at the end of our game here from Green Bay. We'll check in on that NFC East with scores for you. Cowboys were beating the Eagles. Giants have won. Redskins, of course, won on Thursday night. The Cowboys. You can still see that block and Lombardi's reaction, can't you? 4th and 8. Dickey gives it off to Del Rogers. Way shy of first down yardage, but the Bucs are out of timeouts. They trail by 13. Clock will stop on the change of possession at 1:29 left to go in this game. Well, I still say if they could throw the ball deep and come up with one touchdown to Kevin House or Gerald Carter and an onside kick, they've got a chance. But they just have not been able to throw the ball deep. The condition of the field, and more importantly, the way the defense of Green Bay has been playing.
It'll be tougher to throw it deep now in that prevent zone situation that Green Bay is going to be in. They're going to give them a lot of room underneath, but they're certainly not going to try to avoid giving them the big play, the big touchdown.
6 defensive backs are in. Mike McLeod and Estes Hood joining Flynn, Lewis, Murphy, and Lee. Over the middle, intercepted by the Packers. That is John Anderson, who recovered the last fumble. That is the 5th Tampa Bay turnover, and that is that. 1:21 left to go. There will be no miracle comeback for the Bucs.
What a great game by John Anderson. 2 fumble recoveries, 1 interception. Did a great job in the second half of stopping the run. James Wilder, Tampa Bay running game. Great game by John Anderson as we looked at a dejected Steve DeBerg, 21 for 36. most of those completions had gone to his backs.
Maybe if we swing on over to the right, we can pick up head coach John McKay, because really, aside from the Packer comeback, that man, John McKay, is just 2 games away now from retiring after 25 years as a head coach. A terrific college coach, winning national championships at USC. And you have to think about, as they will just dive on the ball and let the clock wind down to get back to John McKay, you have to think about how many young men's lives he has touched and influenced over the years. All of the great competitors, including the late Ricky Bell at USC. All of the men that he's coached at Tampa Bay, men like Leroy Selman and Hugh Green, and the influence that he's had on those individuals.
Well, the thing is, you talk about McKay as a coach, but I think the most impressive thing about him is the way he handled himself as a person. I played against him numerous times, but never had a chance to meet him until I started working here with CBS. And on occasion, we met with him twice, as we covered him twice this year, and he's just a perfect gentleman and giving us everything we needed.
They will fall on the ball again. Just a personal note, because it'll be the last time we see John McKay in his role as coach. He, of course, will be the president of the Bucs and be involved, as Mr. Culverhouse said, in the selection of his successor. John McKay has always been a gentleman to all of us at CBS, and we would like to wish him the best. He said he hoped he retired with a fat wallet and a smooth backswing. And John, we hope you get both your wishes.
Amen.
Asked him how he'd like to be remembered yesterday, and he smiled and he said, "You know, Jimmy," he said, "I hope that everybody I've met liked me along the line. I don't think there are too many that don't."
I don't think so.
The Packers come back against the Bucs. Tampa Bay had built up a 14-0 lead.